DJ, hit it. This goes out. Woo! Colin Hicks. Woo! All right, that's good. All right, Ruby Jim. Ruby Jim lost his head there. I think so. All right, so back to a year in the life of a complete and total genius. So hopefully you already checked out the slide presentation I shared with you and are ready to think about bias in Arthur's writing and also how other characters are reacting to it. So as we left off, Arthur had to write a Remembrance Day poem, and Remembrance Day is like Veterans Day, and he used the style of a very famous poem called In Flanders Field. You want to look it up, you can. But here is Arthur's poem, War by Arthur Bean. In schoolyard fields, the insults are said, between the bullies, grade to grade. They don't throw bombs, they throw water balloons. They think they're funny, they're just baboons. We are the nerds. Short days ago, we knit, felt pride, wrote songs and poems, and then felt wronged. And now we hide in classrooms side by side, away from the schoolyard fields. We are the lowest of the low. To the cooler kids we throw the answers to next week's test. And maybe they won't pick on us, at least until we miss the bus and have to wait in schoolyard fields. Dear Arthur, your reimagined poem of In Flanders Fields is very interesting. I appreciate your creative variation on the assignment. To suggest that war could be considered bullying on a much larger scale, it's an intriguing concept. However, you understand that your liberal interpretation of the assignment would be inappropriate for the school assembly, marking an occasion as solemn as Remembrance Day, don't you? Many people have a soft spot for this particular poem, even today, Miss Whitehead. So this is Arthur Bean's newspaper article. We shall grow old during the assembly by Arthur Bean. Terry Fox Junior High celebrated another Remembrance Day with an assembly on November 10th. As expected from an assembly, there was the usual singing of the national anthem, a bad rendition of a mournful song by the choir, and some speakers. 3 poems were read, one by a student in each grade. Representing the 9th graders was Michaela Connors, reading a rhyming poem, pretending she was a dead soldier from World War I. 8th grade student Brianna Liu read her poem about being a dead soldier from World War II. And finishing off the trio was 7th grade student Paige Petrovic, who read, yep, you got it, her poem about being a soldier who watches his best friend die during World War I. Certainly there were better poems in the 7th grade than this overwrought free verse. In case you fell asleep during this part of the show, you can read all 3 poems on page 5 of this edition of Terry Fox Junior High Marathon. These poems were followed by the obligatory 2 minutes of silence, one of which was punctuated by a teacher's cell phone ringing. Please read more about the school's cell phone policy on page 1. The best part of the assembly was the talk from a soldier who recently served in Afghanistan. Lieutenant Ducharme was funny but also serious and told us some great inside stories about life as a soldier, about living in a war zone. He should come to every assembly. Hiya, Arthur. There's some great work in your writing here. You covered some of the major points of the assembly, and I like how you refer your readers to other parts of the newspaper. For your next piece, focus on being more objective while you were reporting. It's awesome that you covered everything so completely. So now, try to look at your subject like a scientist. Think objectively and avoid adding your own personal commentary. I've done some editing on your article to show you what I mean. Check it out. Would you like to try covering a school sporting event next week? The boys volleyball finals are coming up. Should be a smashing game. Cheers, Mr. E. Dear Mr. Everett, no offense, but sports don't interest me. What I would really like is to write my own opinion pieces, since you said my voice is so strong. How about I write one article for the December edition of the paper and you read it beforehand? I'll have an article for you by the end of the week. Yours truly, Arthur Bean. Hiya, Arthur. I think I'd like to see more articles from you before we look into a new format. After all, I'm still learning about the best format for the school paper too, the trials of being a first-year teacher. Could you maybe review the short film that the AV Club made this fall? They'll be showing it every lunch hour during the first week of December in the drama room. But they're willing to do a preview for the newspaper. I bet it leaves you reeling. Cheers, Mr. E. Oh, we have a guest today. Lena Lee, come here. Lena, come here. Oh, Lena, look into the camera. Look into the camera. Yeah, it's not fair, Trixie. Oh, here comes Trixie. Trixie was here yesterday, and you didn't get to be here. Yeah, she's dressed in a Wellfleet teacher, a la Zoe. All right, back to this. You better keep quiet. All right. So, November 15th. Dear RJ, I know that the first month back at school would be hard and stuff, but I didn't think it was going to stay that way. First off, Luke was right about there being so much homework. I'm always doing homework. And what I really want to do is work on my short story for the competition. I heard about this book that teaches you how to write a novel in 3 days, so I'm going to find that. I hope it has lots of ideas to choose from. Can you imagine if this book tells you how to write a book in 3 days, and it must take like an hour to write a short story? I'm going to write something like Feed. Luke was right. The book is super weird and crazy, but it kind of feels like it could actually happen in the future. I still can't believe Miss Whitehead is making me work with Robbie every week. It's so terrible. He never does anything, and he doesn't listen to me when I try to tell him what we're supposed to be doing. He just sits there and doodles on his page, and they aren't even doodles. He does these crazy drawings in his margins. They're super elaborate and kind of gruesome. Maybe if he wrote and instead of draw, we wouldn't have to meet every week. Maybe I'll tell him that. Oh, and Pickles came back yesterday. That's good, I guess, although I already have scratch marks on my arms from her. I kind of missed her, but now that she's back, I remember how annoying she is when she wants attention. Anyway, watch out, RJ. She can be vicious with paper that's left lying around. Yours truly, Arthur Bean. Peer Tutoring Progress Report. Session, November 16th. Worked on homonyms. I think so. Yeah, there's Welby's picture. I don't know if you can see it. Miss W. I don't know what Arthur's problem is, but he's the worst tutor ever. There must be another guy out there. Robbie. Miss Whitehead, it's my belief that if Robbie actually paid attention to what I was saying, he may actually have learned what a homonym is rather than using it for an hour as an insult about my girly mom nature. Arthur. Assignment. Shakespearean Reflections. We are starting our new unit on A Midsummer Night's Dream this week. It's a great play full of romance and adventure, and it's funny too. To prepare, I would like you to write 2 short paragraphs, imagining yourself as an actor or an audience member in Shakespeare's time.
You're not eating a bean. Don't eat a bean. No.
So what did it feel like to be on stage? What does it smell like? What are you wearing? Did you have to sneak in to see the show, or are you rich enough to buy a seat? Please use at least 7 adjectives and 5 adverbs describing the scene you're in. No one wants to see your tuchus. All right. My Life as Shakespeare by Arthur Bean. The Globe Theater is putting on my play again tonight. It's wonderfully exciting that they created this whole theater just for me. I adjust my funny-looking wig and smooth out my greasy mustache. It smells in here like it does every night. It's too bad that the audience does not bathe, ever. The stench of the onions and garlic swirls around me disgustingly. It also smells strongly of rancid feet. It reminds me of my own father's feet when he takes off his boots after spending the day doing farm work, but 100,000 times worse. I gag quietly so that the actors don't hear me. I don't want them to think I don't like their acting. The thing is, though, I don't like their acting. The guy playing the king is okay, but the prince is really overbearing, saying all his lines too quickly and loudly. There's no emotion in his voice. But the audience doesn't mind. They clap loudly and call out adjectives like wonderful, fantastic, grandly delightful, hilariously terrific, and stupendous work, Mr. Shakespeare. Thankfully, they can see that I'm the really brilliant person in this round theater tonight. Arthur. This is some nice work in describing how Shakespeare might feel about his work. However, I was hoping that you would focus more on the atmosphere of the play rather than the opinions of the playwright. Also, I don't appreciate your subtle mocking of the assignment parameters. It's unpleasant and unnecessary. This is a learning environment, and learning the rules of grammar will make you a better writer. I suggest you take these things more seriously in future assignments, Ms. Whitehead. Ruh-roh. All right, that's it for today. Off to your independent reading. See you later.